on, yeah, come on. Just like a fortune cookie, I know you love the phrase, they got you drunk.
Alright everybody, welcome for another lesson. This is Francisco Perez. Alright, so today we're going to go back into Isaiah. I'm going to continue on from there. Alright. Okay, so we're starting from chapter 7, verse 10 in the Septuagint. This is Esaias, so this is what we would call Isaiah. And the Lord again spoke to Esaias, saying, Ask for thyself a sign of the Lord thy God, in the depth or in the height. And Esaias said, I will not ask, neither will I tempt the Lord. And he said, Hear ye now, O house of David. Is it a little thing for you to contend with men? And how do ye contend against the Lord? Therefore the Lord himself shall give you a sign. Behold, a virgin shall conceive in the womb, and shall bring forth a son, and thou shalt call his name Emmanuel. Butter and honey shall he eat, before he knows either to prefer evil or choose the good. For before the child shall know good or evil, he shall refuse evil, to choose the good. And the land shall be forsaken, which thou art afraid of, because of the two kings. See, they made it hard to comprehend, because they want to hide the fact that this, probably because it didn't come to a fruition, but they want us to believe it did because of Jesus. But I'm going to continue on. But God shall bring upon thee and upon thy people and upon thy house of thy father days which have never come, from the day that Ephraim took away the Judah, from the day that Ephraim took away from Judah the king of the Assyrians. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall hiss for the flies, which insect shall rule over a part of the river of Egypt, and for the bee which is in the land of the Assyrians. And they all shall enter into the clefts of the land, and into the holes of the rocks, and into the caves, and into every ravine. In that day the Lord shall shave with the hired razor of the king of Assyria, beyond the river of the head, and the hairs of the feet, and remove the beard. And it shall come to pass in that day that man shall rear a heifer and 2 sheep. And it shall come to pass from their drinking an abundance of milk, that everyone that is left on the land shall eat butter and honey. And it shall come to pass in that day, for every place where there shall be 1,000 vines at 1,000 shekels, they shall become barren land and thorns. Men shall enter thither with arrow and bow, for all the land shall be barren ground, and thorns, and every mountain shall be certainly plowed. There shall no fear come thither, for there shall be from among the barren ground and thorns that were in the cattle shall feed the oxen shall tread. And the Lord said to me, Take to thyself a volume of a great new book, and write in it with a man's pen concerning the making a rapid plunder of spoils. For it is near at hand. And make me witness of faithful men, Urias and Zacharias, the son of Barachias. And I went into the prophetess, and she conceived and bore a son. And the Lord said to me, Call his name Spoil quickly, plunder speedily. For before the child shall know how to call his father or his mother, one shall take the power of Damascus and the spoils of Samaria before the kings of Israel. Alright, I knew that was important. Okay, so in the Septuagint, it goes, and I went to the prophet into the prophetess, and she conceived and bore a son. And the Lord said to me, call his name, spoil quickly, plunder speedily. Okay. Now if you look in the King James Version, it goes, moreover, the Lord said unto me, take thee a great roll and write it in with a man's pen concerning Mahar Shahar Shabaz. And I took unto me faithful witnesses to record Uriah the priest and Zechariah the son of Jeberechiah. And I went unto the prophetess, and she conceived and bare a son. Then said the Lord to me, call his name Mahar Shalal HaShabaz. Okay, if you look at the precepts 8 and 3, approach unto. So if you actually look up the definition or the translation of Mahar Shahal Abaz, it actually goes back to the Septuagint and means spoil quickly and plunder speedily. So why this is important? This is important because the Creator said, I will call him Emmanuel. So when Ahaz or Akaz, depending on which Bible you use, he made the agreement with the Creator. It was on him to follow the statutes, laws, and commandments, and the laws of Moses, you know. But just like King Solomon, they were persuaded to do other things. So as a punishment for following the Assyrians, he took away the birth. And yes, somebody did bear a son, but they didn't tell him to call him Emmanuel. They said Mahar Shahalabaz, spoil quickly, meaning you fucked up. This is why we never get what we was promised, because we broke the promise. For before the child shall know how to call his father or his mother, one shall take the power of Damascus and the spoils of Samaria before the kings of Assyrians. And the Lord spoke to me yet again, saying, because this people chooses not the water of Siloam that goes softly, but wills to have Rasin and the son of Romelius to be king over you. Therefore, behold, the Lord brings upon you the water of the river, strong and abundant, even the king of the Assyrians and his glory, and he shall come up over every valley of yours, and shall walk over every wall of yours, and he shall take away from Judah every man who shall be able to lift up his head, and everyone able to accomplish anything. And his camp shall feel the breath of thy land, O God, with us. Know ye, Gentiles, and be conquered. Hearken ye, even to the extremity of the earth be conquered, after ye have strengthened yourselves. For even if you shall again strengthen yourselves, ye shall again be conquered. And whatsoever counsel ye shall take, the Lord shall bring it to naught. And whatsoever word ye shall speak, it shall not stand among you, for God is with us. Thus saith the Lord. With a strong hand they revolt from the course of the way of this people, saying, Let them not say, It is hard. For whatsoever this people says is hard. But fear not, ye the fear, neither be dismayed. Sanctify ye the Lord himself, and he shall be thy fear. And if thou shalt trust in him, he shall be to thee for a sanctuary. And ye shall not come against him and against a stumbling stone, neither as against the falling of a rock. But the house of Jacob are in a snare, and the dwellers in Jerusalem in a pit. Therefore many among them shall be weak and fall and be crushed, and they shall draw nigh, and men shall be taken securely. Then shall those who seal themselves, that they may not learn the law, be made manifest. And no one shall say, I will wait for God, who has turned away his face from the house of Jacob, and I will trust in him. Behold, I and the children which God has given me, and they shall be for signs and wonders in the house of Israel, from the Lord of hosts, who dwells in Mount Sion. And if they should say to you, Seek these who have in them a divining spirit, and them that speak out of the earth, them that speak vain words, who speak of their belly, shall not a nation diligently seek to their God? Why do they seek to dead concerning the living? For he has given the law for a help, that they should not speak according to this word, concerning which there are no gifts to give for it. A famine shall come sorely upon you, and it shall come to pass, that when ye shall be hungry, ye shall be grieved, and ye shall speak ill of the prince and your father's ordinances. And they shall look up to the heaven above, and they shall look on the earth below, and behold severe distress and darkness, affliction and anguish, and darkness, so that one cannot see. And he that is in anguish shall not be distressed, only for a time. Drink this first. Act quickly, O land of Zabulon, land of Naphtali, and the rest inhabiting the sea coast, and the land beyond Jordan, Galilee of the Gentiles. O people walking in the darkness, behold a great light. Yet that dwell in the region and shadow of death, a light shall shine upon you. The multitude of the people which thou hast brought down in thy joy, thou shalt even rejoice before thee, as they that rejoiced in harvest, and they that divide the spoil, because the yoke that was laid upon them has been taken away, and the rod that was on their neck, for he has broken the rod of the exactors, as in the day of Madiam, for they shall compensate for every garment that has been acquired by deceit, and all remnant with restitution. And they shall be willing, even if they were burnt with fire. For a child is born to us, and a son is given to us, whose government is upon his shoulder. And his name is called the Messenger of Great Counsel. For I will bring peace upon the princes, and health to him. His government shall be great, and of his peace there is no end. It shall be upon the throne of David, and upon his kingdom, to establish it and to support it with judgment and with righteousness, from henceforth and forever. The zeal of the Lord of hosts shall perform this. The host has sent death upon Jacob, and it is come upon Israel, and all the people of Ephraim, and they that dwelt in Samaria shall know, who say in their pride and lofty heart, the bricks are fallen down. But come, let us hew stones and cut down sycamores and cedars, and let us build for ourselves a tower. And God shall dash down them that rise up against him on Mount Sion, and shall scatter his enemies, even Syria from the rising of the sun, and the Greeks from the setting of the sun, who devour Israel with open mouth. For all this his anger is not turned away, for still his hand is exalted. But the people turned not until they were smitten, and they sought not the Lord. So the Lord took away from Israel the head and tail, great and small, in one day, the old man, and them that respect persons. This is the head, and the prophet teaching unlawful things. He is the tail, and they that pronounce this people, blessed shall mislead them, and they shall mislead them that may devour them. Therefore the Lord shall not take pleasure in the young men, neither shall he have pity on their orphans or on their widows, for they are all transgressors and wicked, and every mouth speaks unjustly. For all this his anger and is not turned away, but his hand is yet exalted, and his iniquity shall burn as fire, and shall be devoured by fire as dry grass, and it shall burn in the thickets of the wood, and shall devour all that is round about the hills. The whole earth is set on fire because of the fierce anger of the Lord, and the people shall be as men burnt by fire. No man shall pity his brother, but one shall turn aside to the right hand, for he shall be hungry, and shall eat on the left, and a man shall by no means be satisfied with eating the flesh of his own arm. For Manasseh shall eat the flesh of Ephraim, and Ephraim the flesh of Manasseh. For they shall besiege Judah together. For all this his anger is not turned away, for his hand is yet exalted. Woe to them that write wickedness, for when they write, do they write wickedness, perverting the cause of the poor, violently arresting the judgment of the needy ones, my people, that the widow may be a prey to them, and the orphan a spoil. And what will they do in the day of visitation? For affliction shall come to you from afar. And to whom will ye flee for help? And where will ye leave your glory, that ye may not fall into captivity? For all this his wrath is not turned away, but his hand is yet exalted. Woe to the Assyrians, the rod of my wrath, and anger are in their hands, and I will send my wrath against a sinful nation. And I will charge my people to take plunder and spoil, and to trample the cities, and to make them dust. But he meant not thus, neither did he devise thus in his soul. But his mind shall change, and that to destroy nations, not a few. And if they should say to him, Thou alone art ruler, then shall he say, Have I not taken the country above Babylon, and Chalens, where the tower was built? And have I not taken Arabia and Damascus and Samaria? As I have taken them, I will also take all the kingdoms. How ye idols in Jerusalem and in Samaria! For as I did to Samaria and her idols, so I will do also to Jerusalem and her idols. So will I do also to Jerusalem and her idols. And it shall come to pass, when the Lord shall have finished doing all things on Mount Zion and Jerusalem. And in Hawaii, man, we got so much idols. It's crazy. And I will visit upon the proud heart, even upon the ruler of the Assyrians, and upon the boastful haughtiness of his eyes. For he said, I will act in strength, and in the wisdom of my understanding. I will remove the boundaries of nations, and I will spoil their strength, and I will make shaken the inhabited cities, and I will take with my hand all the word as a nest, and I will even take them as eggs that have been left, and there is none that shall escape me or contradict me. Shall the axe glorify itself without him that hews with it? Or shall the saw lift up itself without him that uses it? As if one shall lift a rod or staff. But it shall not be so. But the Lord of hosts shall send dishonor upon thine honor, and burning fire shall be kindled upon thy glory. And the light of Israel shall be for fire, and he shall sanctify him with burning fire, and it shall devour the wood as grass. And in that day the mountains shall be consumed, and the hills and the forests, and the fire shall devour both soul and body. And he that flees shall be as one fleeing from burning flame. And they that are left of them shall be a small number, and a child shall write them. And it shall come to pass in that day that the remnant of Israel shall no more join themselves with, and the saved of Jacob shall no more trust in them that injured them, but they shall trust in the Holy God of Israel in truth. And the remnant of Jacob shall trust in the mighty God. And though the people of Israel be as sand of the sea, a remnant of them shall be saved. He will finish the work and cut it short in righteousness, because the Lord will make a short work in all the world. Therefore thus saith the Lord of hosts, be not afraid, my people who dwell in Zion of the Assyrians, because she shall smite thee with the rod. For I am bringing